I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about how long does it take to get over an ex?
And this one's backed by some research.
Yes, actually, somebody emailed us at the website and suggested sharing this article with you guys. You know that we share lots of books and articles and research on what we see and what we think is helpful. And we don't mind sharing stuff from you guys too. So if you guys have helpful things that you'd like to share or have a success story, you can always email us on the website.
And the thing I like about this study in particular that the person had sent was that it's brand spanking new.
Ooh.
Whew.
New. How
Fresh
new?
Off the press.
How new?
2025, baby.
2025.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is new.
And so we like that there's more research happening on attachment style, on relationships, on dissolving relationships, things like that. So we're really happy to share this piece.
Yeah. Great. So what do we got?
All right. So this study was done by Gia Chong and Chris Freely in the Journal of Social Psychology and Personality Science.
That's a tongue twister.
Whew, it is. And I will also add, if you're nerdy like I am, I've recently heard that you can email the writers directly. I'm not sure where you can find their emails, but maybe if you do a little bit of research yourself, you'd be able to find it. And sometimes they'll send you their articles on their own. So do with that information what you will.
So what did this study have to say?
So the study was looking at, can we get over exes? There's two schools of thought. One, our relationships kind of stick with us for life. To some degree or another, we always look back at our past relationships with longing, with some feeling, with some emotion. Then the other school of thought, basically saying that we can eventually detach from our ex-partners to the point of
just moving on completely,
correct,
forgetting about them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's no different to reacting to a stranger. So that's what the study looked at. How long does it really take to truly get over an ex? Do we get over an ex, or do we still exhibit some of those thoughts and inclinations towards that kind of attachment-based longing for an ex?
Sure. Okay.
So very, very interesting stuff. So how did they do this? They tried to look for the compulsion to search for a former partner.
Okay.
Now, of course, sometimes that looks like behaviors. In our channel, we talk about reach outs. That would be the behavior. But they also included just thoughts and inclinations.
I'd like Instagram and Facebook to do this study.
Yeah, right?
That's how you get the real accurate data.
That would be very interesting.
If they just kept track of your search history.
Then they would really know.
Yeah. We took 500 random people and looked to see how often they were searching for their ex.
That would be more interesting.
That one I would love to see. They should hire us to do that.
Yeah, right? And so they looked at 320 different people's past relationships and surveyed them and their experiences. Now, these relationships had to be longer than 2 years.
Okay.
And their exes still had to be alive. So
okay.
They did that, I'm sure, just to account for things like grief. It can be a lot more complicated.
Sure, and that's a great thing to consider because obviously you're not going to be searching someone up to see how they're doing
right.
Unless there's a heaven book and you can look and see how things are going in heaven.
True. I doubt that there's social media up there.
You never know. You gotta
I feel like
you got to do something up there for fun, right?
Social media belongs in hell. That's my 2 cents.
What if the people in heaven are Googling the people down here to see how they're doing while they're still alive? Vice versa.
They would be disappointed.
Then probably.
So, jokes aside, the study found that it took approximately 8 years on average for people to stop exhibiting these types of thoughts, behaviors, inclinations, whatever you will.
Pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
What do you think?
Right. And the half-life of this, let's say, was around 4.18 years.
Okay.
So that was about halfway through of, let's say, processing or getting over an ex.
Yeah, so it's definitely over 4 years. So that's a significant amount of time.
Right. And it can be difficult with these qualitative like studies to really get down to the nitty gritty. Of course, it's not like in our bodies and mind, we're like, oh, well, it's hit exactly 8 years. Now deleting all information on our ex. It's not like that happens to a T.
Sure.
But this is the best we can do at this point, right? Through surveys and through asking about things like proximity, security. So they kind of broke down some of these concepts in the study if you want to learn more. But I found it really fascinating how they, tried to put this very abstract concept into some numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because there's a lot of things you have to consider. Does their ex move on and marry someone? So you might not think about them so much anymore, or look to see how they're doing. Have you moved on and gotten married and have kids? You might not be looking so much anymore. You know what I mean? How happy are you currently? How happy do they currently look? You know what I mean? So I think those things are going to affect it too.
Oh yeah, and the study looked at that also. So the study had also considered factors like who initiated the breakup. They looked at gender. They looked at if they still talked with exes or not. They looked at attachment style, which was interesting.
Good.
Yeah. And the results were as expected. They found that those who were more anxious were slightly more inclined to think of their ex for a longer period of time. And those who are more avoidant typically had a shorter period until they were able to really detach, let's say, quote unquote.
Okay.
But there were some things that were really fascinating about that too, how they saw that the person entering into a new relationship didn't affect the extent to which people's attachments to their ex changed over time.
That's interesting.
So I found that to be very fascinating.
So that's like saying that even if they got into a new relationship, they still wanted to see what their ex was doing.
Right, in some cases. So they found that it didn't affect the extent. So very interesting data there. And mind you, this is one study. Of course, there's still a lot more research that needs to take place for us to better understand. But for us, we're like kids in a candy store because we love to see researchers doing more of this stuff, looking into this kind of stuff more.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
I think they need to hire us to run some of these surveys.
I don't know. It sounds a bit complicated to me.
Sure. But it'd be fun.
It would be
right?
fun.
If we had a good team and we could tell them the factors we want to look at and consider, and then we want to work for Instagram and Facebook, and I want data. I want to see
data.
I want search histories, I want Google histories, I want it all.
Interesting.
I want to see where their car goes and if they're driving past their house.
Oh my gosh.
Let's get in depth here.
That is very in depth. I don't know if that's legal, but
I will make it legal.
Oh gosh.
It's some Star Wars for people. But, this is no surprise. People don't get over their ex for a long time. This is why we tell you all the time, your ex is not just going to forget about you. Okay? I saw some guy advertising. Do you get advertisers for no contact videos on your social media? Oh my gosh. I had the guy who's like, don't go no contact. You will lose your ex forever. I had him today. I'm like, oh gosh, man. But yeah, so when you hear people telling you that your ex is going to forget about you and just move on and disappear, they're not. They're thinking about you for a long time here. And we have new research that is lining up with what we always hear from our clients and see with the people that we coach and see behind the scenes every day.
Right. And so what I like about the study and the results is that while, yes, the person was able to detach to the point where that attachment between strangers or ex-partners almost became interchangeable, it did take a long time to get there. So towards the end of most studies, they'll kind of give you a little discussion, just some food for thought, things to kind of ponder over and for further researchers to consider. But they had talked about that. They had said how it's interesting because we get to think about what we want to take from our relationships. So if there are some relationships that are difficult to move past, think about what causes you to look back at that relationship. In what ways do you seek safety or security or proximity? So just some interesting things to reflect on in your own life, how your own past partners have made an impact on you, how attached or detached you feel from them, if there were certain factors that affected that, right? Like maybe a really, really bad relationship might affect you in one way, maybe a mediocre relationship might affect you in another way, maybe one that was super healthy and really inspiring affected you in another way. So
it's interesting.
It is really interesting.
Yeah, some people have short-term relationships that they're affected by for years, and long-term relationships they've are able to move on faster from.
Right.
So it is very unique, and that's why we're always saying that every situation and every relationship is different. And, it's great to share when we get new information, new data, new research that's out there. Especially it sounds like this study was fairly well done, and they were even incorporating attachment styles, which is really great to see.
Right.
Now, how they measured the attachment styles, that's another question you have, because a lot of these exams out there, you take these attachment quizzes, and everybody's like, I was secure. It's like, were you? Okay.
And so
Mr. Extreme Dismissive Avoidant.
Right.
I was secure on the exam, on the test. How many people have told you that?
It's true, though. There is just that
I came
degree
across
of...
as slightly anxious. Okay, but you went to their house 17 times.
And, there is some awareness of when you're taking the test that you're being tested on something, right? So in the study, it also talks about some of its limitations, how the participants, were selected in such a way that they might be more interested in talking about their relationship or thinking about it more in general. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but a lot of food for thought. Our relationships impact us. They stick with us for a significant amount of time. Maybe not forever in some cases, maybe forever in some cases.
But it's nice to see more research and information to consider when you're going through a breakup and you're feeling like your ex is just going to move on and forget about you. Here's more research that suggests that it's a lot longer than you would expect.
Right.
I remember when you told me 8 years, I was like, interesting. That's quite a long time.
So if you're going through breakups, set your timers now. Just kidding.
People are like, wait a minute, is that from today or the time of the breakup?
Oh, no.
You get that question a lot too on the call,
I
right?
know.
I get a lot of that question.
Our relationships
They'll be like, how long do you think it's going to be to talk before they'll reach out? And I might give them, I don't know, I get a feeling that it'll be this amount of time. And they'll be like, is that from today or is that from the time of the breakup?
Is that from now? Is that from now?
When we get off the phone, or did it start when you told me that? I get it. You got a lot of anxiety. I totally understand. But you got to work on those attachment issues. Got to heal these things so you can get to a secure place where you're more confident in your next relationship, or if your ex comes back.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
All right. So let us know if you like this one. And if you ever see some really good research by actual researchers and not people that make up their data and say there's a 98% chance you'll get your ex back with this PDF. We like to see those things. Send them to us and we'll share them if we can.
Yeah, we'll let our little nerdy sides shine.
All right, so hopefully you found this one helpful. And of course, if you want our help personally, you can get that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.